at you with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Hot Toys MMS 353 of none other than the Ironman Mark 46 from Captain America Civil War. This is one that I've been waiting for a long time. Quite possibly my favorite looking Iron Man suit in all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. For the package, much like all the other Civil War figures, you got that really cool image of the battle there. You got Iron Man, you got the War Machine coming around to the side here. You can see Black Widow comes around to the side, and then the back of it carries over. You got Vision, and then on the opposite side, you got more of an extension of Iron Man, and of course, Black Panther. So basically, you have the Team Iron Man flying around here. On the back of the package, you can see it says, "United we stand, divided we fall." And then you also have the cast and crew responsible for making the figure, as well as the various warnings and contact information. And then much like all the other die-cast figures, the package for it is a little bit of the heavy-duty box that slides up just like so, and setting this off to the side. And then on the inside, you have heavy-duty foam, which really, I mean, I've always loved this, and I wish they did this in a way where they made this into, you know, like that House Protocol kind of armor storage thing. But you see the Mark 46, and then this opens up just like so. And you got all of his accessories in a whole lot of little plastic baggies. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. If you have gotten any of the die-cast figures before, you basically know what to expect here. So without further ado, let's get this guy out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright, so jumping right into it, because there's actually a lot involved with this figure. First and foremost, as with all Hot Toy figures, you do get the instruction manual. I highly recommend going through this. Number one, there are a ton of lights on this guy. And the first few pages just show you where to put them. It also shows all the different, swap out features, how to change the head, the chest armor, everything like that. It goes through the various parts of articulation. So definitely something that you want to familiarize yourself with. As with all these Iron Man figures, there's a lot that goes into it. And some figures have some things and some don't. So it's just good to make sure that you know what the figure can actually do. So starting off first with all of his accessories. First up, as always, in addition to the two fisted hands that are currently on him, he comes with a pair of articulated hands, which, again, very standard with the Iron Man figures. You got the joints at the various knuckles and things of that nature, but gorgeous detail on these hands. I love what they've done with them. I mean, again, I've said this many, many times that you really do get a full appreciation of all the intricate details that are on these suits when you get these Hot Toy figures. You see it in the movie, and it goes by so fast that a lot of times you don't really see everything. And one of the aspects for me is when I get these, I just sit there and marvel at all the different little molded in, sculpted, painted details that they do. I mean, Hot Toys really is a master at their craft. So in addition to these, you also do get the repulsor blasting hands. Again, same level of detail that the articulated ones have, although you do get a little bit more of that kind of paint where the joints are. Although it's not too bad. A lot of times you see like the rubber section like right in there as painted black. That's always something that's bothered me, because the articulated ones, it's not painted in any different color, but these are painted red. So that's nice to see that they've recreated that design. But you got that repulsor blast sort of angle for the wrist as you go like that and you go pew pew. One other thing that's really cool that they've done is they've included some actual blast effect hands. It's the exact same hand basically as the repulsor blast one, but instead of just having the open section right there, you actually have the blast effect coming through. Now, I like that and I don't like it. You guys know that in terms of the effects, I kind of think of these as a little bit too toy-ish. I don't think that it really gives a full visual effect kind of thing. I think that the detail on it is still terrific. You got this really gorgeous translucent orange that as you come down here to the tip, it gets a little bit more white. I do like it. Don't get me wrong. It just, for me, screams a little bit more toy, because it's like it catches the blast at a split second. And I don't know. It's not something that I tend to appreciate as much. I know some collectors really do like it. I just personally don't. One other bit that you do get are, but you come down here and you see, again, great detail on the bottom of the figure. We'll take a look at this, but you actually now have holes here in the bottom. So you can put these pieces here into the little posts, and now you can create a flight sort of look. Again, to me, a little bit too toyish for me. I mean, that looks cool, and if you're going to display him flying, I guess that works, but I just not a huge fan of any kind of effects like this. Some of them work really good. Most of the ones for the Iron Man ones, I don't think come across as well, but you can see that they are a much bigger piece. Still the same kind of paint detail on them, but much larger than what it comes out of the repulsor hands. So you do have those. You also do get some replacement wrist guards and things like, well, not really wrist guards, but deployed weapons, I should say. So you have this. This is his right one. Well, I'll use the left one because it's a little bit easier to see. So you have this piece right here. It literally is right there. So you just take this and, well, I'll play with that here in a little bit, but it just goes over there and it deploys his little missiles. You also do have these little pieces right here that come up and actually go on his shoulders. Getting great detail on these though, but coming in to take a look closer at the wrist sections right here. These all, I'll show you how to attach these here in a bit. But again, great level of detail. You can see some nice intricate details on the inside of the suit. Real nice paint variation with the red and the silver for the actual missile itself. You can see that it actually elevates it a little bit. And then like I was saying, you get the shoulder weapons. That just kind of slides out and is a little bit open. One thing that I will talk about is that the magnet, for one, has detached. I do still have it. That's one aspect that happens from time to time. The magnets will not be glued in properly. So just when you're going through, be careful. Obviously, there's a lot of small pieces with these, and you want to make sure that you're as careful with this as possible. Now, you also do get a Captain America helmet. Nothing anything really different than we've gotten before with other Captain Americas. It's just the empty helmet itself. You can have him holding it. You do also get an alternate Tony Stark face sculpt. Now, the Mark 46 is the first armor that feature a fully retractable helmet, which means that the entire Iron Man helmet retracts, and that's what this kind of a little cuff, or I should say collar sort of thing, replicates. This is what you use in conjunction with the actual head sculpt. But looking at the head, this is absolutely incredible. I mean, gorgeous detail on the entire thing. You can see he's got his black eye over there. Easily one of the best head sculpts of Robert Downey Jr. that we've gotten for any Iron Man figure. I mean, I want to keep coming in as close as I can and keeping it focused. I mean, it's just stellar detail, intensity in the eyes, great detail with his little goatee and beard thing. Absolutely spectacular. You got the wrinkles, all the lines. Again, you look at the bruising for his black eye. Just really gorgeous. I mean, I don't know honestly how they can keep improving it, because each time I look at it, it's better each and every time. I mean, that is just a gorgeous head sculpt. And then, like I said, you take this piece, and actually, I think it's actually supposed to be like this, where it's around the back, like so. So again, I'll show how to attach this and everything later on. But you can see that the helmet comes around here to the back, and it collapses to the back section of the actual suit. Again, always great when you get a full-on Tony Stark head sculpt. One other little accessory that you get that is kind of a bit of a surprise, because there were no pictures of this, and in the actual description of what we were getting for the figure for the pre-orders and stuff, this was never listed. But this is a recreation of the chest that was damaged by Captain America when he slammed his shield down onto his arc reactor. Now, battle damage, again, you guys know that a lot of times I don't like it when you just get individual pieces that are battle damaged. During the fight scene with Captain America, Iron Man did encounter a lot of battle damage. I mean, Winter Soldier and Cap really did take it to Iron Man. But it's just, because I'm Team Iron Man, it just goes to show how tough Iron Man is that he was able to take on 2 super soldiers. I mean, yeah. But, I mean, so you get this really battle-damaged chest piece. I like it. You got a little clear piece on the inside there. You can see it that is cracked as well. I mean, it's cracked all the way across. I just wish there was more battle damage on the suit. Now, this is not something I'm going to really display on the figure. I do like displaying mine in a pretty clean sort of look. But it is nice that they include this. This was something, like I said, was a total surprise. So I really do appreciate that. Now, this part here actually does disappoint me a little bit. This is his display stand. This is probably the 3rd or 4th time that we've gotten this. They've reused it several times. It's this damaged rubble sort of thing.
It's a nice display stand, don't get me wrong, but it really doesn't speak to the scene. I mean, you can kind of see like it's a little road, so maybe you could say that it was, you know, the airport or something like that. I guess you could potentially say that, where it's like the cement at the airport. I guess you could use that, but like I said, we have seen this before. It is a little bit lackluster. You get this random girder piece that I guess you can just throw there. That really, I mean, it's great detail on it. I mean, don't get me wrong, the detail on both of these is phenomenal. I'm left underwhelmed with it. Now, you do get a couple different little display bits with it. You get the flexible pillar, which is cool. Obviously, if you're going to be doing some dynamic poses with it, this is a good one to use. But a lot of times they recommend not using this for die-cast figures. So what they actually do is give you a bent metal one, as you can hear. It is made out of metal as well, that you can put onto the back section here. And it gives a little bit more of a stable kind of base to display them, if you're just going to have them kind of hovering there, I guess. Now, in terms of looking at the instructions, as you can see, you know, you got those different options for the dynamic stand. It does specifically say not to use this figure with other display stands, such as the more standard, you know, crotch grabber one. I mean, I don't really know why. I mean, he stands on it fairly well. Obviously, you don't want to use the clear pillar, but I don't know why you can't use the standard one. But in general, they do give you those two poles to really customize the look and display. But for his accessories, as you can see, you do get a lot. And that's really impressive. I do like it. All the die-cast figures for Iron Man usually do come with a good array of accessories. But really, the best part about this easily is the figure itself. And then coming in to take a look at the figure. Every single time that I get a new Iron Man figure, I am blown away by what Hot Toys is able to do with the detail on them. The recreation to the actual suit is just phenomenal on their part. I mean, everything from the paint detail to the sculpting to all the like little tiny details that are worked throughout the whole thing just really are immeasurably impressive. I mean, still to this day, I don't understand how a person can get in a suit like this, but I mean, it's just really absolutely gorgeous. The 46 has a very organic look to it, much like the 45 did. And for the most part, it really does have a very similar look. I mean, the colors are fairly similar, and the overall design of the suit is a nice evolution of that 45. But the 46, it just really does take it to a whole new level. Now, one of the aspects about this suit that really does make it special is the fact that it does have a ton of extra light up features. If you remember in the movie, the 46 is designed to kind of be like the bleeding edge armor, which utilized a lot of smaller arc reactors throughout the entire suit, for the most part to enhance his overall abilities, to make him a much stronger suit. And Hot Toys has incorporated all those LEDs, which is just really terrific. I mean, I really did think that incorporating all those lights throughout the entire thing would be kind of like a detriment to the figure, but I honestly don't think that it is. So starting off first with the lights, because that's probably the biggest, I guess, accessory on this guy. And it's going to require me to turn off my lights here. I'm going to go through and turn them all on and show you how to turn them on, but obviously because of my lighting, you're not going to be able to see them. So once I get them all turned on, I'll turn the lights off so that you can get a full appreciation. But the first one you want to do is going to be the head. So you come around here, you lift this up, and you got the little switch right here that you just flip that on, turns his eyes on. And I'm not going to go through and turn them all on right now, because as I've talked about before, the batteries are usually not very good. Then you come around here to the back, you got this back section here that comes apart. It just pulls away from the body. You got the battery compartment there with the switch. That again, you come around here. Let me try doing that so you can see it still. That lights it up, and that also lights up several other small arc reactors on the actual body. You got some down here, you got some right here, you got one here, here, here and here, and then obviously the large arc reactor. But again, you can see some of those lights actually do come across very nicely. One thing I love is removing this is the arc reactor is now this a circular shape again, but it is a little bit bluish in color, as you can see. Quite impressive. And then again, coming around here to turn those lights back on, you can see some of those little lights light up for the other arc reactor. So again, we'll touch on all that here in just a bit, but putting that back on there. You also do have some that are in the arms up here, which is really a little bit tricky to get to. I'm not a big fan of it because, as you can see, you're kind of pulling on some of these, and it makes me feel nervous that you're going to pull the whole thing apart. But there we go. So this whole piece is actually made out of die cast, but you can see you just pull it away from there, and then you have the little light switch right there that when you turn that on, that lights up the little arc reactor bit here in the back section. Now, there isn't anything else that I'm seeing, so that just specifically works on that little light. Both sides actually do have that, so again, I'll fiddle with that here with the lights off. Do I have that all the way screwed in? I might not have that all the way screwed in, so I might have to fix that. So putting that there, and then you just put that right back in, and that's how you light up the shoulder sections. Then you come around here to the arms, rotate this out, and again, you're kind of pulling on some pieces, which always does make me feel a little bit nervous, but you pull that away. You have a little switch on this side. Now, this also does light up the hand, but you can see it also does light up the smaller arc reactors here, and then also on the back of his hand, which is cool. But for the purposes of showing how it looks with the actual the repulsor blast, putting his other hand in here, you can see that you have that as well. And then it also does bleed through on the opposite side. It basically got 3 lights there on his arm in addition to the shoulder. So turning that off, I'll put that back there just for the time being. And then you come down here to the legs, and you come around to the back, and you pull away. There you go. And as you can hear, that sounds like it's going to break it, but one thing that I've noticed is these little tabs actually do seem to have a fair degree of durability. You put it in there, and then, oh, well, you want to go like that. You put it in, and it seems to actually, like I said, have a very good degree of durability. I've taken it off several times, and I don't notice any stressing on the plastic, which is definitely a good sign. So when you remove that, you got the switch right back there. Switching that on, come around, you can see that lights up on his lower portion of the leg. And then, okay, you got that, you got the knee, and then you got the light up at the upper part of his hip area. I do think that they kind of missed out on getting any lights here on the bottom. That would have been cool to actually see, but that's really all that you have for that. So all those are the lights for the guy. He has a ton of them. And again, the best way to show it is going to be with me turning the lights off. So why don't we get that all set up, and then you can see how he looks when he's fully ablaze. And here he is. I mean, again, tremendous amount of lights in detail on this. He's like a Christmas tree. I mean, I absolutely love it. You can see you got the 2 eyes. You got 2 on the outer section right here. You have 1 here on this side of the abdomen, 1 on this side, obviously the giant arc reactor. You got the 2 on this side as well. You have 1 here on the arm. You come around here to the back. You got some actually on the back of them. You got the back section. You got 1 here in the back area, another one on the other side, some here right above his butt. You got some here on his hip area, which are absolutely gorgeous. Some down here in the lower hip area. Obviously, the arms have them with the forearm, the back of the wrist. Obviously, you have the repulsor blast right there. And then all the ones down here on his leg. I mean, just absolutely spectacular looking. I mean, every single light looks terrific and really does give you a full sense of just how cool this suit really is. And one thing that I love about it is that the lights all, with the exception of maybe the one here on the back, there is no bleed through in anything. I mean, you do have a little section right here that the light has to kind of bleed through, but everything else is a very clear look coming through it. I mean, I just absolutely dig and taking off the chest. I mean, I just dig the way that looks. Every one of them does a great job. And honestly, like I said, is probably the coolest aspect about this entire figure. Now, unfortunately, you can't leave these on all the time in terms of having a display, but the fact that it does it just is absolutely impressive and really does take this figure to a whole new level that really does blow me away. Now, taking a look at some of his other features, as I was showing you, the chest can remove. You just pull this piece off kind of on the side just like that, and then you can put the battle damaged one on there. Now, as I was talking about, as much as I love the way that looks, you can see that there is a difference here. This has a much more scorched kind of look on it, giving it a darker look than the original one. And while the rest of the body does have scratches throughout it, you can see some in the abdomen, some down here, some on his legs. You got some down here, the lower part of his legs, his arms, his helmet, everything like that. While those are all still there, it's not nearly as battle damaged as this. Now, this looks absolutely terrific. I love that. And if you're going to do a display where Captain America is slamming down his shield on it, I mean, that works beautifully. But I just wish there was more battle damage to kind of go along with it. So that's just a personal preference on my part, I guess. I don't mind it really all that much in getting that all situated. If you're going to include battle damage, put it in some other places, I think. Now, for the helmet, what you need to do is pull the entire thing off. This can be a little bit tricky, but you have to make sure that you pull the whole bottom section off as well. So you want to remove that entire neck joint. And then come around here, you take this piece. This piece sits right there just like so, with the little tab section here in the front. That sits just like that. Then you take Tony and you bring him around, give that a nice little push, and there you have that cool look. And really, I mean, it is amazing, and I love how that actually looks like his mask is folded back like that. I mean, that's really very cool. And honestly, this might be how I choose to display him. I don't think any of my Iron Man figures actually displayed with his head sculpt on there. All of them just have the regular Iron Man one. But in terms of my Captain America Civil War display, I might actually utilize this because it was the precursor to the huge epic battle. And I think it looks really good. Now, some people have talked about how the head sculpt does look a little bit big on him. And in hand, it really doesn't look all that bad. But then when I look down at the camera, it does kind of look like it's a little big. But I don't know. That's really quite strange how that turned out. But I still really love it. And as I said, I think that it is the best representation of Robert Downey Jr. that we've gotten to date. Obviously, each time that we get a new one, I seem to say that because they seem to do it better and better each time. Now, he can also swap out these pieces right here. Just pull that away. Now, like I was showing you, the one I have, and of course it's going to be this one. The magnet on it has come away, so you can see how that would just go there. So unfortunately, the magnet's not there, so I can't really put that there. But you can take the other one off, and you can put that one. That one has the magnet. And that one just attaches right like so. Again, the magnet thing is a very common problem that Hot Toy figures have a lot, especially when they have the magnets. A lot of times you have to adjust that and fix that. But those are cool little additional pieces. And then you also do have the wrist section here, so kind of getting this out of the way. Oh, I just pulled his thumb off. I'm sorry, Tony. Put your thumb back in there, buddy. You poor guy. Get your thumb up in there, dude. Okay, so this top section right here, this detaches. Let me make sure I get the right one here. I don't know if I have the right one. So this, I actually haven't swapped this out yet. So pull my little tool out here. There we go. Oh, that's a tight magnet. Okay, so pull that away just like that. And while it is magnetic, it does seem to actually have a couple little tabs on there. So pull that away, and then you bring this in. And so while it's magnetic, you still have to feed the lines in there to get it to actually sit in there. So there you have that. So it is magnetic, but you are required to meet up with certain bits to get it to fit in there properly. You got little tabs here that line up with some holes on the side, and the thumb came off again. I wonder if I don't have that pushed in all the way. Now that seems to be detaching a little bit too easy there, so I'm gonna have to take a look at that. But that's one of those extra features that I think looks cool. It's weird that it's magnetic when you have to have the little tabs on there. And there goes the thumb again. Don't know why that is. I don't think the other one doesn't do that as much, but all right, well, we're just gonna do the rest of this with no thumb. And then obviously, if you want to, you can have him hold his Captain America helmet, I guess. I mean, that's all personal preference, but for his accessories and all the features on him, that's basically it. He's loaded with them. He looks terrific when you get all the lights up and running on the guy. I wish there was a way that we could do it all the time, have them lit up. That's something that Hot Toys has never been able to figure out how to do, and I really wish they would. But now, actually taking a look at his articulation. Now, for his articulation, it really isn't anything that we haven't seen before, but going through it still, the head, you can see, is on the nice ball joint. You get it looking left and right, looks up and down fairly decently for some good flying poses. The little lower neck section here does slightly pivot side to side, not a lot, and then it does kind of flex up and down some, so you do get a little bit of that motion here in the neck. You come down to the arms. These can rotate. This whole section here can flex. It's on a little bit of a spring kind of thing right here, but the majority of the motion is going to come when you extend the shoulder outward. Then you can get a nice full range of motion with it. That allows you to not scrape anything. You can do that when it's still collapsed in, but I wouldn't recommend it. When you do that, it does allow for a little bit of a armpit joint. The ball joint here for the actual shoulder is also a little bit articulated, so you get a little extra range of motion. Then obviously moves up and down. He rotates here at the upper part of the bicep. The elbows do bend at a little bit more than a 90-degree, but they say that's about 160 range of motion, which, yeah, that sounds about right. So really nice range of motion there. Now the hands, obviously very standard. They have that little ball joint, so you can rotate that around. If you have the articulated hand on here, you get the fingers. Just be careful of the thumb. Coming around to the back, I guess I could have showed this off as part of the features. He does have the little air flaps. They are tricky to get to because it is a very streamlined suit, so just use a little fingernail and just kind of wedge your thing in there, kind of lift this up, and let me see if I can get this top one here. There we go. So you got the little air flaps right there. I do still wish that what they did, instead of putting the switch here, is if they put like the switch hidden underneath the air flaps, so that you're not constantly having to take that off to access the lights. But still, great detail in there. You can see all the different panels and things like that. So love that's actually still included. Then with all these die-cast figures, you do have the waist rotation, so you can see it rotates on a bit of a ball joint. Then you can also extend it up like so, and you get a much further range of motion with it to really, bend and contort them. This little piece right here does kind of flex out of the way so that you can bend that down and everything. So there's a whole bunch of little moving pieces on this guy. It really does help to facilitate any kind of pose that you would really want to put him in. Come down to the hips, they can move forward and back. Of course, you do have the little flaps right here on the sides that you do want to move forward. That will allow you to get a much further range of motion, and then as you can probably see, it does extend down so that you can bring it forward even more. You don't have the little button right there, so something like the Ironman ground pound is not really possible. I mean, you probably still could get it, but it's gonna take a lot more manipulating of the joints and stuff to really pull that kind of pose off. And honestly, it's played out. I don't ever display my Ironman figures like that. So you do have that little extending piece. You do have the rotation here at the upper part of the thigh. Come down to the knee itself. This does have two bends for a really nice range of motion. You got little pieces right here that do kind of flex and move out of the way. So when you bring it down, that looks like it's all part of one kind of seamless look, and then you move it. And because that's flexible, as you bend that back, that kind of goes along with it, which I think is just really ingenious in general. And then you also do have the ankle, which you do want to be careful. You do have the small range of motion there, and then you got all these little flex pieces here that kind of get out of the way, but then it also does extend down. Kind of want to put your fingers on the side here to pull down so that you don't damage anything, and then you get more of a range of motion with it. And then again, you can kind of flex these little pieces forward and back to kind of get things out of the way to get a little bit more dynamic of a look, and you get a much further range of motion with the ankle tilt and then just collapsing that back up. Forgot to point this out, but great detail even on the bottom here. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous in terms of the paint as well. I mean, normally it's just kind of this very detailed bottom section, but you don't get a lot of that extra paint detail on there, but I like how they got the little silver bits thrown throughout there. And then you also do have a little bit of a toe bit right here that does flex. So all the articulation that we've come to kind of know with the Ironman figures, especially die-cast ones, is present here. It makes for an absolutely beautifully displayed figure that you can get into a variety of poses that even to this day still absolutely amazes me. I mean, these are really marvels of engineering. And finally, we're going to take a look at a bit of a comparison. Here you have him next to the Ironman Mark 45. And as you can see, there's a lot of similarities between the two suits. One thing that I always loved on here was the more streamlined, organic sort of look to it. And the 46 does still have that. It's just a little bit more of an evolution with some extra details and stuff than with the 45. I mean, they're completely different suits, but you can see there is some carryover aspects to it. And honestly, it's hard for me to pick which one is my favorite, but ultimately, I do go with the 46 just because of all the extra light up features. Even when you don't have them, you still kind of can see where they are on the suit, and that still works for me. I mean, both of these are just absolutely gorgeous pieces, but if I did have to pick just one, I'm absolutely going to go with the 46. And once again, an absolutely amazing piece by Hot Toys. Time and time again, people have asked me, which is my favorite Hot Toys Iron Man figure? And a lot of the times, it really does depend on which is the most recent one that I got. But I really feel that the 46 here is my all-time favorite. A lot of it has to do with the fact that I love the whole bleeding edge armor look. All the various arc reactors, I just think looks incredible. And I see a lot of people that kind of say that the Mark 6 or the 7 are like the iconic looks for Iron Man. And while I agree with that, I really do think that the 46 here could easily become one of those. It just has the look. In terms of the Hot Toys figure, they have done an amazing job of recreating how the armor looked in the film. The only thing that I really wish that they would have done differently was give us some extra battle damage parts. But that, by no stretch of the imagination, is a deal breaker. As I said, a lot of times on my displays, I like the clean look. So I'm not even going to have that displayed with them. But the detail, the paint applications, the accessories, the extra portrait, everything on this guy, to me, just really does kind of solidify this as the definitive Iron Man figure. This guy takes the stage. So if the Iron Man Mark 46 is a figure that you'd like to add to your collection, he is available right now at Sideshow Collectibles. So all you have to do for that is click on the link down in the video description. You go to Sideshow where you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the wide range of Hot Toys 1/6 scale figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please hit that thumbs up button. It goes a long way towards helping me out, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way you get instant email notifications whenever I upload a new video, and you never miss out on a future review of mine. Or hey, if you're already subscribed, do me a real quick favor and click on that little bell right below this video, and double check your settings to make sure that they're set so that you get those email notifications. And as always, until next time, be excellent to each other.